A torrent of ferocity surged forth as the colossal six-winged dragon, seemingly endless in size, unfurled its massive wings. Under countless gazes, it tore through the sky with a shockingly dramatic dive, targeting Lin Dong below. As the dragon charged, the air itself seemed to shatter under the pressure. A mountain peak below crumbled into dust from the sheer force of the air's compression. The powerful figures of Thunder Abyss Mountain were visibly shaken, facing immense danger. At that moment, Lin Dong looked up coldly at the astonishing onslaught. Brilliant azure light erupted from within him as 100 Azure Dragon patterns roared forth simultaneously, their dragon cries echoing to the heavens and shaking the earth. Such genuine dragon might. Now I desire this martial art even more. The heavenly dragon demon commander felt the overwhelming pressure of the dragon roars, his eyes filled with greed. I'm afraid you lack the ability. Lin Dong sneered as the Azure Dragon patterns howled skyward. Their roars like thunder burst from flat ground, reverberating through the mountains. Boom! The six-winged dragon descended with a fierce cry. However, just as Lin Dong was about to make his move, his heart stirred at the sound of an earth-shattering tiger's roar. Like furious thunder, it reverberated with violent killing intent above Thunder Abyss Mountain. Chun Tong and other powerful figures urgently turned toward the mountain's depths. There, the sky darkened as thick black light converged like lightning, revealing an enormous black light tiger. Within a flash, it tore through space, violently colliding with the massive body of the six-winged dragon. Boom! A tremendous noise spread through the sky, and a terrifying shockwave swept out like a storm, flattening patches of forest below. Commander Yin is out. The strong figures of Thunder Abyss Mountain were instantly overjoyed at this sight. What mangy creature dares to cause upheaval in my Thunder Abyss Mountain? A violent roar came from the mountain's depths, followed by a black light streaking from afar. In the blink of an eye, it appeared above the skies. The newcomer was none other than Little Yin, who had been in seclusion for a month. His tower-like figure seemed even more robust, with black tiger stripes flickering across his body. The scars on his face had vanished, but the menace in his eyes had intensified, sending chills down the spine. Moreover, Little Yan's aura had significantly improved, reaching the level of perfect completion of the Death Mystique stage. His tiger gaze swept the area, exuding a domineering presence. What an unparalleled fierce tiger! The two commanders from the Blood Dragon Hall were stunned by the imposing aura surrounding Little Yin. Though they too were at perfect completion, they sensed a potent threat from his presence. This aura, are you actually from the Sky Demon Tiger clan? The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander showed a mix of surprise and doubt as he gazed at the formidable Little Yin. Little Yin ignored his question, his tiger gaze filled with murderous intent as he coldly stated, Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, I don't care how Su Zhong obeyed you in the past. From now on, Su Zhong will no longer lead Thunder Abyss Mountain. Therefore, don't dare add past grievances to Thunder Abyss Mountain. Haha, what an imposing new demon commander. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander chuckled, though anger laced his laughter. He hadn't expected these two to be so unyielding. But do you really think I can't deal with the two of you? His expression turned sinister. Known for his domineering ways, he found this a hard pill to swallow. Were his true form here, he would not restrain his murderous intent against Thunder Abyss Mountain. If you want to fight, my brother and I, along with Thunder Abyss Mountain, will accompany you to the end. But be prepared to lose a few teeth. Little Yan's fierce tone matched the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's in sheer ferocity. Demon Commander, even if your Blood Dragon Hall could devour Thunder Abyss Mountain, you'd inevitably suffer heavy losses. You might then need to watch out for the other two great demon commanders from the Beast Combat domain. Lin Dong, arms folded, stood surrounded by the swirling Azure Dragon patterns, exuding an intimidating aura. His calm, indifferent gaze fixed on the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander. Hearing this, a change finally came over the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's face. He may not fear Lin Dong and Little Yin, but he genuinely dreaded the other two great demon commanders in the Beast Combat domain. Their strength matched his own, and they harbored ambitions toward Blood Dragon Hall. In the sky, the keen gazes from three sides intersected, their bodies taut, with astonishing energy subtly gathering in readiness. Chen Tong and the others watched the scene unfold, all secretly smiling wryly. But since even Little Yin and Lin Dong had spoken, they had no choice but to comply. Although the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander was exceedingly troublesome, the two Lords of Thunder Abyss Mountain were not to be trifled with either. Their assertive conduct made their subordinates feel quite proud. They also knew very well that Lin Dong and Little Yan's combined strength was formidable. Even though the Blood Dragon Hall was powerful, devouring Thunder Abyss Mountain wouldn't be so simple. The standoff in the sky lasted for a good while, until the fierce glow in the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's eyes gradually dimmed. No wonder Su Zhong fell at your hands. You do have some skills, the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander said slowly. You flatter us, Lin Dong replied with a smile. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander gazed at Lin Dong and Little Yin, a cold smile appearing on his face. But don't get too happy. I, the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, do not give up so easily. For now, my true body is in seclusion, so you too can act arrogant for a while. In 1 month, at the ancient divine relic Treasury, I will show you the terror of a revolution stage expert. By then, I hope you still have the same bravado. Hearing the blatant threat in the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's words, Lin Dong and Little Yin narrowed their eyes, a fierce light flickering within. Today, I'll let Thunder Abyss Mountain off the hook. Use this last month wisely and savor the might of the Demon Commander. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander chuckled lightly. With a wave of his sleeve, the space behind him split open. He turned a step through, and the two leaders of the Blood Dragon Hall quickly followed suit. In a month, you two brothers will surely die. As the three departed, their chilling and murderous voices slowly echoed over Thunder Abyss Mountain. That bastard, Little Yin muttered, watching the spot where the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander vanished, his fists clenched tightly and a murderous intent brewing in his eyes. Lin Dong remained expressionless, his long fingers intertwined. After a moment, his brow slightly furrowed. Facing a formidable revolution stage champion head-on indeed posed a significant challenge. But having come this far, retreat was not an option. If it truly couldn't be avoided, then in 1 month's time, they would have no choice but to fight completely and utterly. This was a space suffused with black light, utterly dark yet filled with an oceanic expanse of vast energy surging through it. From the depths of the darkness emerged an overwhelmingly terrifying pressure. Buzz. The space had remained silent for an indeterminate period when suddenly, there was a ripple. A faint gleam of golden light flickered and darted towards the depths, but midway, it seemed to exhaust its energy and vanished completely. As the golden light dissipated, a weak sound wave emanated. Shortly afterward, from the depths of the dark space, there was a stir, the energy filling the space roaring like ocean waves. In the depths, 2 enormous bat wings, each 1,000 feet long, unfurled to block out the sky. Intricate and mysterious purplish-gold patterns covered the wings, their edges sharp enough to slice through space with a cold gleam. A fierce aura capable of devouring the heavens permeated the space in an instant. This pulse, from the depths of the darkness, where the bat wings met, emerged 2 enormous eyes, slightly tinged with a dark golden hue, which slowly opened. A monstrous ferocity filled the giant eyes. The dark golden eyes gazed at where the sound wave had dissipated, as the bat wings trembled. The scattered sound wave fragments slowly returned. The colossal figure in the darkness absorbed the sound wave fragments. Moments later, the dark golden eyes widened suddenly, filled with a rare surge of excitement, overwhelming the inherent ferocity. They're all alive. I always knew Lord Mink's brothers wouldn't fall so easily. We promised to retake it together. Just wait a little longer. Once Lord Mink emerges, I'll come find you. That bumbling tiger and big brother. Finally, the 3 brothers will reunite. The voice gradually faded within the space. The crisis at Thunder Abyss Mountain, following Lin Dong and Little Yan's vigorous resistance, gradually dissipated when the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, after some deliberation, decided to temporarily retreat. However, Lin Dong and Little Yin were well aware that this matter was far from over. The real reason the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander withdrew today was because his true form couldn't descend. If he ever finds the opportunity, his wrath would undoubtedly strike like terrifying heavenly thunder. Nevertheless, Lin Dong and Little Yin had no intention of bowing to the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, which would inevitably lead to conflict. Moreover, the commander's desire to seize Lin Dong's sky-transforming dragon art only exacerbated the conflict further. With resolution out of reach, the only recourse was the most primal solution. Might makes right. A practitioner at the revolution stage is considered top tier, a true titan wherever they go, and the leader of a supersect in the Eastern Mystery region would typically have this level of power. Confronting such an existence posed a challenge, even for the now much improved Lin Dong and Little Yin. Though not as terrifying as in the past, it certainly was not trivial. True to their character, with trouble staring them down, Lin Dong and Little Yin had no intention to avoid it. A revolution stage opponent was problematic, but not enough to make them flee in disgrace. For the time being, they decided to see what tricks the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander had in store. As Thunder Abyss Mountain returned to calm, beneath the surface tension remained. Everyone knew of the conflict between Thunder Abyss Mountain and Blood Dragon Hall, with the latter being far more formidable. To many, this clash seemed irrational. Even the formidable Su Zhong had to yield to Blood Dragon Hall. Now, with the new demon commander of Thunder Abyss Mountain not yet fully established, offending Blood Dragon Hall appeared foolish to some. Despite the rumors outside, Thunder Abyss Mountain remained serene. Surprisingly, Blood Dragon Hall didn't retaliate, leading many to feel perplexed. However, those in the know understood that the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander was in seclusion, unable to trouble Thunder Abyss Mountain for now. Some schadenfreude individuals felt a twinge of regret, but soon they inwardly chuckled. Everyone knew this peace wouldn't last long, as the opening of the ancient divine relic treasury was just a month away. When the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander emerges from seclusion, that would spell trouble for Thunder Abyss Mountain, potentially leading to a change in leadership once more. It's said the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander is in seclusion. No wonder only a demonic spirit appeared that day, Little Yin remarked, his gaze shifting to Lin Dong as he received intelligence reports in a grand hall at Thunder Abyss Mountain. Lin Dong nodded slightly, then glanced at the concerned faces of Chen Tong and others below, smiling. Continue as usual. While the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander is troublesome, destroying Thunder Abyss Mountain isn't an easy task. The powerful figures of Thunder Abyss Mountain looked at Lin Dong's fearless expression. To them, he seemed immune to fear, even against such a formidable foe. Well, if Master Lin Dong says so, we needn't worry. He's more capable than we can imagine, Chen Tong encouraged others with a smile. Nodding in agreement, the others dispersed, comforted by the unwavering confidence of the young leader before them. Once the hall emptied, Little Yin turned to Lin Dong. Big brother, what should we do? The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander is likely preparing for the Divine Relic Treasury. Are we still going? Why not? Lin Dong replied with a grin. While he wasn't particularly interested in the common treasures within the treasury, the Shintian Palace itself piqued his curiosity. Ranked 10th on the ancient Divine Relic list, it was clearly no ordinary artifact and could become Lin Dong's most formidable weapon. In the beast combat domain, there are 3 great demon commanders, each harboring their own grudges. When gathered at the Divine Relic Treasury, the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander wouldn't dare go all out against us, fearing the other 2 might take advantage. Pausing, Lin Dong continued, even if he targets us, my devouring heavenly corpse can engage him. The devouring heavenly corpse, refined by the 9-tailed spirit fox, had regained significant strength. Though defeating a revolution stage powerhouse was challenging, with its unique constitution, the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander couldn't easily crush it either. Little Yin grinned, exuding a familiar simplicity from years past. If only little Mink were here, we'd be spared all this trouble. I wonder how he's doing now, Lin Dong mused, stretching lazily. Second brother is the hardest to deal with, so he's probably doing better than all of us, Little Yin remarked, scratching his head. Even though he was now a commanding figure, he still felt a bit of respect for Little Mink. It wasn't fear, but rather the memory of Little Mink guiding his training back then, often with stern criticisms. Thinking of this, little Yin glanced at Lin Dong, who was smiling, and couldn't help but feel that his big brother was the most impressive. Even their notoriously hard-to-handle second brother seemed quite resigned in Lin Dong's presence most of the time. During this period, keep an eye on Thunder Abyss Mountain, Lin Dong instructed as he got up and walked out of the hall. Little Yin nodded, fully aware that Lin Dong had been intensely focusing on refining his spiritual energy, thus avoiding distractions from matters at Thunder Abyss Mountain. Soon, the ancient divine relic treasury would open, causing the entire beast combat domain to stir. It was evident that Lin Dong aimed to strengthen himself as much as possible before that time, or else the pressure they would all face could become overwhelming. In this hostile domain, even a slight misstep could mean complete annihilation, erasing any past successes in an instant. In the expansive and desolate hall, for beams of light intertwined, with fierce spiritual energy sweeping across like a storm as the four figures clashed. A thin figure landed, with 3 cracks appearing on his shoulder, significant wounds, but now he felt no pain from them. Briefly turning his head, he saw the 3 figures behind him tremble violently before shattering into countless light spots with a bang. Not bad. Yan's voice echoed from above. Smiling, he looked at Lin Dong below and said, "You can now defeat 3 human-class mirages, a significant improvement from when you first entered here." "Just 3? Huh?" Lin Dong muttered, gazing at the tightly closed stone door at the end of the hall, shaking his head in resignation. He had been training in the inescapable divine prison disk, his spiritual energy improving steadily. According to Yin, once he could defeat an Earth-class mirage, his spiritual energy would reach the pinnacle of the great completion of a mortal talisman master. However, to challenge an Earth-class mirage meant he had to defeat 10 human-class mirages at once, and clearly, Lin Dong was still far from that goal. "Don't aim too high. Your speed isn't lacking," Yin remarked casually. "How long did it take the Ice Lord to defeat 10 human-class mirages back then?" Lin Dong asked. "About a month, I suppose," Yin replied after some thought. Lin Dong was speechless. He had only managed to defeat 3 mirages in a month. Yet the Ice Lord? Truly incredible. "Why do you keep comparing yourself to the Ice Lord?" Yin suddenly asked. Lin Dong paused, not replying. "Is it because your little girlfriend is the Ice Lord's reincarnation? Are you afraid of that?" Yin probed insightfully. Lin Dong took a deep breath, his gaze firm. "I'm afraid she'll become someone I won't recognize because of the burdens she'll have to bear. If possible, I'd rather carry those burdens myself." He didn't want the vibrant, adorable girl he once knew to lose the smile he cherished because of reincarnation. He didn't want to experience that sense of irretrievable change. If he could, he would stand before her, shielding her from all the world's storms, just like when she once courageously blocked formidable foes alone, only for him to appear with a back that seemed capable of supporting the sky. Yin looked at Lin Dong, pursing his lips lightly. "So, you wish to surpass the former Ice Lord in every way, huh? You know, that's quite challenging, especially since no one knows what your little girlfriend might become because of reincarnation." Lin Dong nodded slightly, then smiled. "That's why I want to surpass her. Although it's difficult, you know how stubborn I am. Continue training then." With those words, Lin Dong stood up again, his eyes calmly meeting Yan's. Seeing this, Yin could only nod helplessly, waving his sleeve. This time, for human-class mirages emerged slowly, and the brutal fight began again in the Great Hall. A month passed quietly, and the atmosphere in the beast combat domain gradually heated up with time. Whispers circulated throughout the land, but regardless of how the news spread, it always centered around one main theme: the ancient divine relic treasury. Every time these 6 words were mentioned, deep-seated greed flared up in people's eyes. Anyone who had spent some time in the beast combat domain knew how frenzied this place would become every 3 years. Almost every faction would cease their battles and focus their fervent attention on the ancient divine relic treasury. Divine relics, 2 simple words, were synonymous with power for many. Even the most ordinary divine relic possessed power, comparable to heavenly-grade spiritual treasures. If someone were fortunate enough to obtain an ancient divine relic that was once famous on the list, it would incite deep envy from countless people. Though acquiring a divine relic from the Treasury required the power of the ancient god token, the Treasury seemed to contain a vast amount of treasures. Each opening rarely resulted in obtaining a divine relic, but many potent spiritual treasures would simultaneously flow out, unrestricted by the Treasury, making everyone eligible to seize them. Securing one such treasure was enough to make the journey worthwhile. This is why the opening of the Divine Relic Treasury became the grandest event in the Beast Combat domain every 3 years. Factions prepared eagerly to seize valuable spiritual treasures from within. Thunder Abyss Mountain. A vast army stood solemnly before a grand hall, with an air of murderous intent spreading through the heavens and earth. At the forefront of this formidable military force were the 8 generals of Thunder Abyss Mountain, armored and ready, their presence awe-inspiring. Commander Yin, all preparations are complete. With a single command, we can march, reported Chen Tong, looking up at the towering stone platform where a burly figure stood, exuding waves of fierce energy. Little Yin surveyed the intimidating tiger-devouring army with satisfaction in his tiger-like eyes. He nodded slowly and spoke in a low voice that echoed through the ranks. Imoho, Jia, you both stay and guard Thunder Abyss Mountain. The rest, along with the tiger-devouring army, follow me to the Divine Relic Range. Yes. Imoho and Jia replied in deep voices. When do we depart, Commander Yin? Chun Tong inquired. Once my elder brother exits seclusion, Little Yin replied, turning his gaze towards a cultivation hall deep within Thunder Abyss Mountain. Lin Dong had been in closed-door training there for the past month, showing no signs of emergence. At this, Chun Tong and others simply nodded and fell silent. Stillness returned to the hall, with only the pervasive air of hostility lingering in the sky. They waited patiently for several hours until the scorching sun in the sky grew hotter. Suddenly, an astonishing invisible force surged from the distant hall. The force, though invisible, carried overwhelming pressure. Roar! As the force spread, a thunderous dragon's roar echoed from the hall, followed by a beam of light, composed of spiritual energy, shooting skyward from within. As the light dissipated, a slender figure stepped into the air. Surrounding him was not primordial energy but a vast ocean of spiritual energy that transformed into thunderous footsteps with each step. Chun Tong and others, gazing at the youth now hovering above the hall with trembling eyes, felt their minds waver as they stared into his black eyes, which resembled a bottomless abyss, compelling their spirits to sink into them. What astonishing spiritual energy! The 4 quickly snapped back to reality, shocked by the strength of Lin Dong's spiritual energy that could influence their minds. Lin Dong looked at the assembled army below and smiled faintly, as the spiritual energy around him gradually receded. He lightly brushed his fingers over a black pupil, where a peculiar ripple seemed to flash. It seemed that during his period of intense training, Lin Dong had gained further insights into his internal spiritual energy. Let's go. Lin Dong waved his hand, speaking few words, before transforming into a wisp of blue smoke and drifting away. Little Yin saw this and let out a low, cold shout. He stomped his foot, and his figure transformed into a streak of black light, darting like lightning towards Lin Dong ahead. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Behind him, Chun Tong and others, along with the tiger-devouring army, rose into the air with a roar. The sound of wind breaking reverberated, painting quite a spectacular picture. The Divine Relic Mountain Range is located in the central area of the Beast Combat domain. Surprisingly, it is the only place within the domain not claimed by any single power. This isn't due to its barrenness. Quite the opposite. It is so enticing that no force dares to occupy it alone, even those with the formidable strength of 3 demon commanders. Countless blood-red eyes are constantly fixed on this region. Any individual or power attempting to seize control will inevitably become the target of the entire Beast Combat domain. Usually, the Divine Relic Mountain Range is scarcely populated, yet within a few days, it has become the most crowded place in all of the Beast Combat domain. Not only have various factions within the domain arrived with full force, but even powers from outside the domain have journeyed a great distance, drawn by the fame of the divine Relic Treasury. The entire mountain range is now swarming with people. The noise of rushing wind fills the sky, as figures descend like locusts from afar, landing within the range. Finally, the divine Relic Treasury opens again. I wonder what powerful relics will appear this time. Last time, the Nine Heavens mountain range ranked 32nd on the ancient divine relic list. That scene was lively indeed, with countless deaths over that relic, which ultimately ended up with the heavenly dragon demon commander. No matter how fierce the competition, other factions wouldn't dare challenge the power of the demon commanders. That's not entirely true. In the heat of the moment, relic madness takes hold, and no one cares about factions. If masses were to rise, not even a great demon commander would dare to provoke public anger. Various kinds of chatter echoed over the vast mountain range. The humming sounds were audible from even the farthest distances. Whoosh! Amidst the noise, a surge of wind-breaking sounds came from the horizon. Countless gazes turned, only to see a massive black tide surging forward, its aura menacing. Is that the tiger-devouring army from Thunder Abyss Mountain? Thunder Abyss Mountain has indeed come. I heard that the current demon commander of Thunder Abyss Mountain was formerly the fierce General Yin. Not long ago, Thunder Abyss Mountain faced off against the Blood Dragon Hall. They're daring indeed. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander is bound to appear today. It'll be interesting. They are quite brash. Even Suzhong didn't dare disrespect the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander back then. This newly appointed Demon Commander is really reckless, acting so boldly before he's fully matured. Amidst the whispers, the black tide roared closer and landed directly on a mountain peak under countless watchful eyes. With the arrival of the Thunder Abyss Mountain forces, the area briefly quieted. Curious eyes turned towards them, as many were intrigued by the new trustworthy demon commander of Thunder Abyss Mountain, especially given its recent clash with Blood Dragon Hall. Lin Dong ignored those gazes and instead turned his focus towards the depths of the mountain range. There, he sensed a subtle energy fluctuation similar to the ancestral stone within him. Quite the grand event. Lin Dong surveyed the area, his eyes filled with amazement. Across the land, numerous potent auras rose skyward. It was truly a magnificent sight. Little Yin nodded, his crimson tiger eyes sweeping the surroundings. Observing the retreat of several gazes, the fierce reputation of Thunder Abyss Mountain's foremost general was well acknowledged throughout the beast combat domain. "Let's rest for now," Lin Dong said. Just then, his eyebrows raised slightly as he turned his head towards the northern sky. There, a torrential blood-red light surged, accompanied by an overwhelming oppressive aura spreading towards the divine Relic mountain range. This aura silenced the myriad whispers across the land. Soon, many schadenfreude-filled glances were directed toward the Thunder Abyss Mountain's position. That is, Lin Dong felt something, intertwining his fingers as he glanced at the now tenser Chen, Tong, and others. With a faint smile, he asked, "The Blood Dragon Hall has arrived?" Chen Tong and the others nodded slowly, their eyes filled with concern and wariness. Lin Dong looked up, gazing toward the direction from which the oppressive aura emanated. His already dark eyes seemed to grow even deeper at that moment. The true body is finally coming. A surge of blood-red light swept in from the horizon, accompanied by an extremely powerful aura, causing countless experts in the mountain range to change their expressions. The might of the revolution stage proved to be so formidable. Lin Dong raised his gaze, eyes fixed on the sky filled with that ominous blood-red light. He frowned slightly, while beside him, Little Yan's eyes flashed with ferocity. His towering form reverberated with the subdued roar of a tiger. Meanwhile, behind them, Chun Tong and the tiger-devouring army remained vigilant, ready to tackle any sudden turns of events. The crimson glow grew thicker, and then they saw a dense horde of figures breaking through the sky in the distance. It was a blood-red army. At the forefront, two figures stepped through the air, familiar faces. They were the two leaders from the Blood Dragon Hall who had confronted Lin Dong a month ago. At the center of that blood-red army, four enormous scarlet serpents were coiled, carrying a grand blood-red throne. A figure sat slanted upon it, and the earth-shattering oppressive aura emanated from there. It was the heavenly dragon demon commander, one of the three supreme demon commanders of the beast combat domain. The air above the divine Relic mountains seemed to solidify under that imposing figure. Though the beast combat domain had 8 demon commanders, everyone understood the true rulers were these 3 supreme ones. The Revolution stage's extraordinary power left all others at this tier in the dust. The blood-red army eventually halted in the sky. Glaring eyes full of malice looked down, focusing on the peak occupied by Thunder Abyss Mountain. On the blood-red throne, the figure's eyes shifted downward. A playful smile seemed to surface on his face. "We meet again." Lin Dong, face calm, said, "I wouldn't call this a coincidence." He looked up at the figure on the throne, recognizing that the heavenly dragon demon commander was far stronger than the spectral form he fought a month ago. An oceanic tide of primordial energy surged around him, charged with the energies of life and death, seamlessly fused together. Life and death intertwined, touching upon reincarnation. A life mystique stage expert would have vibrant life energy within. At its peak, it transforms into death energy. These energies, one strengthening the inner self and the other excelling in lethality, could only reveal true power when perfectly fused. This is why the power of the Revolution stage reigns supreme over the peak of the perfect completion of the Death Mystique stage. A singular, extreme force stands no chance against the fusion of life and death. It's a fundamental disparity that's incredibly hard to bridge without extraordinary means. I wonder now, do you regret your arrogance from that day? The heavenly dragon demon commander taunted Lin Dong and his companion, his gaze as if mocking prey. The multitude of eyes also turned toward the forces of Thunder Abyss Mountain, anticipating a spectacle. Rumors of Thunder Abyss Mountain's might from a month ago were now about to require reckoning for their recklessness and arrogance. Facing the heavenly dragon demon commander's gaze, Lin Dong's face teased a smile. He softly replied, "Even if I did it over, every word I'd say to you would be the same." In the sky, the heavenly dragon demon commander's smile gradually vanished. Rising to his feet, his blood-red cloak fluttered like wings. His eyes filled with icy hatred and intense killing intent. "At this point, you still dare to talk big?" Swish. Sensing the murderous intent in the heavenly dragon demon commander's eyes, the tiger-devouring army reacted like provoked tigers, their blood-red eyes fixed on him, showing no fear, only a wild, beast-like bloodlust. "Heavenly dragon demon commander, if you think you can devour Thunder Abyss Mountain, I fear your teeth aren't sharp enough." Little Yin roared coldly. The heavenly dragon demon commander's expression darkened, and everyone could feel an overwhelming wave starting to emanate from him. The Blood Dragon Hall's army also showed a fierce glint in their eyes. No one expected Thunder Abyss Mountain to remain so unfazed even after encountering the heavenly dragon demon commander's true form. "Then I'll show you now that your level isn't near enough to threaten me." The heavenly dragon demon commander took a step forward, appearing outside his army. The heavenly dragon demon commander, upon making his move, wielded the kind of power only those at the Revolution stage possess. Clearly, he intended to deal a lethal blow. Chun Tong and his companions saw this and their expressions changed. From the blood-red sphere of light in the heavenly dragon demon commander's hand, they could perceive a terrifyingly extreme energy. The current power of the heavenly dragon demon commander was far more formidable compared to the split soul of a demon spirit they had encountered before. "Go and regret underground." A cruel smile flickered across the heavenly dragon demon commander's eyes. With a slight flick of his finger, the blood-red sphere of light expanded to a size of 100 feet. Like a blood-red meteor, it carried a terrifying sway, hurtling mercilessly towards the mountain peak where the Thunder Abyss Mountain forces were stationed. The blood-red meteor descended in the blink of an eye. Yet, just as it was about to smash the mountain into dust, a shadow rapidly shot out from the peak, colliding directly with the destructive sphere of energy. Boom! A deafening noise resounded in the sky, and the energy surged like waves, causing the entire mountain range to tremble. Countless eyes turned towards the origin of the shockwave, and then their pupils sharply contracted, for there, a figure was suspended in the air. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's formidable strike had been blocked. Who is that? Strong enough to withstand an attack from a Revolution stage expert? Is there a hidden powerhouse within Thunder Abyss Mountain? Amidst the growing hum of astonishment, eyes quickly turned skyward above the peak. Indeed, did Thunder Abyss Mountain possess secret methods? Is this a puppet? The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's expression subtly changed due to the unfolding scene. He focused on the pitch-black figure, his gaze intensifying. Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, I've long warned you. Attempting to devour Thunder Abyss Mountain means preparing to pay a painful price. Lin Dong swung his sleeve as the devouring heavenly corpse dropped beside him. He locked eyes with the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander and spoke slowly. So this is your trump card? The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander stared intently at the devouring heavenly corpse, then spoke darkly after a moment. Lin Dong was nonchalant and replied, Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, our goal is the ancient divine relic treasury. Indeed, your Blood Dragon Hall might currently overpower Thunder Abyss Mountain, but are you sure you'll have enough strength left to contend with the other two Grand Demon Commanders after engaging us in battle? Are you threatening me? The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander sneered. I'm merely telling you the truth. Lin Dong smiled, then cast his gaze over the mountain range. The strength emanating from some presences even surprised him. Surely, you're aware of how many covet the divine treasury here. Squandering your strength on us before it's even opened might not be wise, right? Numerous warriors in the divine relic mountains nodded in appreciation of Lin Dong's acumen. They realized that a direct confrontation with Blood Dragon Hall meant certain defeat for Thunder Abyss Mountain. Yet Lin Dong's approach forced Blood Dragon Hall to exercise caution. By showing their strength, Thunder Abyss Mountain made it clear that they weren't an easy target. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's expression darkened, flames of fury seething in his eyes. He initially thought that by showing his true form and his Revolution stage power, he would crush the confidence of Thunder Abyss Mountain instantly. But he hadn't expected that formidable puppet, capable of directly blocking his attack, ruining his intimidation attempt. Even if reluctantly, he had to acknowledge the truth in Lin Dong's words. Countless warriors thirsted for the ancient divine relic treasury. Though Blood Dragon Hall might be the dominant force in the region, any significant injury would invite opportunistic attacks. Rationally, it wasn't the time to deplete too much strength before securing the treasury's treasures. But would this mean Blood Dragon Hall had to temporarily retreat? The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander glared at Lin Dong's smiling face, feeling a growing frustration. As a prominent commander of the Beast Combat Domain, with unparalleled Revolution stage power, he found himself consistently defeated by a young man merely at the perfect completion of the Death Mystique stage. The thought alone was infuriating. Observers in the Divine Relic Mountains, watching the conflicted and still Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, exchanged curious looks with Lin Dong standing on the mountain peak. This guy, he could actually corner the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander to such an extent. While the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's heart smoldered with frustration, laughter suddenly echoed from the distance. The sound grew closer, accompanied by the roaring winds and lightning. At the forefront of the approaching figures was a burly man clad in golden armor, wielding a massive black staff. His face might have been grotesque, yet his aura was every bit as formidable as the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commanders. It's the Golden Ape Demon Commander from the Golden Ape Mountain. The appearance of this giant brought forth exclamations of surprise. Lin Dong's eyes also flickered with astonishment. This newcomer was none other than one of the three great demon commanders of the Beast Combat Domain, the Golden Ape Demon Commander of Golden Ape Mountain. Heavenly Dragon, if I were you, I'd act now to get rid of them. You secured the Nine Heavens Mountain range last time. Do you intend to contend with us for this too? Not long after the giant's arrival, a shrill laughter echoed from afar. Lin Dong turned his head to see black clouds rolling in. A closer look revealed that the black clouds were actually formed by numerous winged figures. At the forefront was a frail figure with huge eagle wings stretching over 100 feet behind him. So, it's the Ghost Eagle Demon Commander from Ghost Eagle Ravine? Lin Dong murmured to himself,